What is going on, guys? It's Adam aka Marf. Today's show, we are going to go over a whole lot, including the White House possibly involved in a direct energy event here. So we'll talk about that and more on the only live call-in show somewhere. Revolution will be televised. Tell us more lies. Tell us that we're all fine. Remember, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show, including our wonderful mods. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. Tell us more lies. Tell us that we're all fine. Revolution will be televised. Tell us more lies. Tell us that we're all fine. Revolution will be televised. All right. What is going on, guys? It is Adam aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a ton to cover, but if you've never been here before, in fact, all of it will be backed up on our website. If you go to marfooglenews.com, you will actually see that we take every single article, every single tweet, every single video, anything that we show you here today, and we back it up on our website. So therefore, you have the sources we use, and you know exactly where your news is coming from. You know which authoritative source it may be from, or which independent broadcaster it may be from. It's all right there. And then, of course, that is programmed live. Today is a call-in show. You can call in at 224-400-MARF. And then also remember, if you're not getting notifications, make sure to sign up at our website, marfooglenews.com. At the top, you will just click on alerts. Again, you can go sign up for email alerts as well. And then you will actually get not only a push notification to your phone when we go live, but you'll also get our articles that we send out. Again, we do not blitz your email. We make sure that they count every single time. All right, and then let's bring in my co-host. Dex is my internet brother and the hostess with the mostest. What's going on, Dex?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam.
So just remember, when you go to this, it's very easy to navigate. Just make sure to go to this thumbnail. Is this why they turned it into a gated community? When you click on that, you will actually find that you'll see this. It's all of the links. So you can actually follow along on a second device. You can grab a tablet, you can grab your computer, laptop, and you can actually read the rest if we don't cover the whole thing. Not to mention, there is one more day left on the EMP sale. Just to mention that, we'll talk more about that later. But again, there is 1 day left on that. All right, let's get straight into it. There's lots to cover. Thank you, everybody, for being here early. Ingenuity Mars helicopter fails to take off on 4th test flight. What is really funny is that we asked the question on our last show, again, 2 days ago, just so you guys know, I did take off yesterday. It was my birthday yesterday, and I went on a family hike with my 6-year-old's kindergarten friend and their parents, who we've become very close friends with. It was a really, really great time. We ended up hiking for about 10 hours. So I apologize that we weren't live. Had to take a day for myself and my family. But thank you for everybody being patient. On the other hand, we talked about 2 days ago about how there was the solar flares that were heading, or the CMEs that were heading not here, but towards Mars. And at the time, they said that there was no evidence that it might have affected something. But now I'm looking at this and going, I wonder if that was the evidence. I wonder if this is what happened here. It says, with 3 successful test flights under their belts, engineers at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory uplinked commands for a 4th, more ambitious flight of the Ingenuity Mars helicopter Thursday. But the small rotorcraft apparently failed to take off. It says, aim high and fly, fly again, JPL tweeted. The Mars helicopter's ambitious 4th flight didn't get off the ground, but the team is assessing the data and will aim to try again soon. It says the small 4-pound dual-rotor drone designed to test the feasibility of powered flight in the ultra-thin atmosphere of Mars had been scheduled for its most ambitious flight yet, targeting liftoff from Wright Brothers Field in Jezero Crater. Of course, naming it after the Wright brothers, the first to fly. So one thing that I don't get, and then Dex, you can chime in here if you want, is the science behind that. Have they explained how this helicopter can even take off with almost no atmosphere? I mean, we have problems getting helicopters above a certain height, or even up in the mountains where there's thin atmosphere here on Earth, let alone somewhere where there's no atmosphere. How does just... Think about it.
Yeah. It's a great question. I mean, I don't know the technical answer. The only thing that comes to my mind is I do know the atmosphere is thin. There is some atmosphere. It's just nowhere near as thick as ours here. But also know gravity's a lot less there too. So maybe it's some combination of that helps it. But
they say it's
a
different makeup.
Science.
They say it's a different makeup. It's like totally opposite of here, right? Or at least they say it's more
Right.
carbon and less oxygen and vice versa or whatever. I think it does give credence. It's why a lot of people put it in question. It says the flight plan called for a climb to an altitude of 16 feet and a 436-foot out and back and traverse, the farthest to date. Throughout the planned flight, an onboard camera was expected to collect images of the surface every 4 feet to help the flight computer determine its exact location. Other question I have is, can they not get live can they not strap a 4K camera on this thing? Is our technology not there yet? It sounds like, maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like it's taking a picture every 4 feet or something. I don't know. It just it seems like that would also give reason for them not to send back like just irrefutable footage of the Mars surface. What do you guys think? Do you think it was affected by the solar flare? Nobody has actually brought that up. I have not seen anything in mainstream that suggested that maybe, just maybe, that CME that was headed towards Mars may have affected the equipment there, including that helicopter. They said it didn't take off. That's what's weird. It's not like it took off and failed. It just didn't go anywhere. It didn't move. So, I don't know. What do you think? I'll pop over in the chat here in just a minute, but first, Martian plague bringing Mars samples to Earth may cause a devastating pandemic. Scientists warn. It says, well, Perseverance rover is rolling over the red planet, studying its geology and taking fancy selfies with the help of the Ingenuity helicopter. Researchers back on Earth here are looking forward to welcome and investigating the first Martian soil samples in the upcoming years. Bringing rocks from the Martian surface to Earth does not seem very exciting to a small group of enthusiasts. From the International Committee Against Mars Sample Return. Dex, did you see the name of this? They're enthusiasts from the International Committee Against Mars Samples Return.
Yeah, I did. There's a committee for that. That's kind of crazy.
Man, I thought...
Yeah. At first you said does not, and I think you were right because they're not actually excited about it.
I read it and I'm like, that can't be right. And then once again, I've heard of Facebook groups for almost everything. I mean, like, there's feet people in there. There's everything. If there's a people that like something, there's a group for it. But that is like to an extreme. They're literally called the International Committee Against Mars Sample Return, or ICAMSR. This is what the kind of people that would be in this kind of committee could come up with as far as clever abbreviations. It says, who warn about incredible risks these life-bearing samples may pose to our home planet, including an immense Martian plague. What the heck? It says the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, otherwise known as FAKE, and the European Space Agency are working together on the Mars Sample Return campaign in an effort to bring precious rocks to Earth for detailed tests. They plan to launch a lander in 2026 to pick up samples collected by the Perseverance rover, which landed on the Red Planet in February. So the Martian soils, including some microorganisms, which potentially inhabit them, may end up on our planet in the next decade. I guess, after this big report that's coming out in another month or so, once that comes out, I guess I think that, in fact, a lot of stuff like this article, I think it will be great that we archived it for later use. If some mind-blowing, discoveries come out in that report, and then we look back at stuff like this and look at it from the level of the people that are in top clearance that are making decisions for this kind of stuff, I think it might actually, I think more stuff is going to come out and make more sense. That's my feeling on this stuff. Is there a threat to bringing this back? Just like if you were to bring oranges or fruit across state lines or across country lines, right? If you bring the wrong fruit into the wrong, environment, it could grow or be a weed or whatever. I wonder if that's the same kind of thing, the same kind of thinking that they are doing here. Do you think that we should bring back Mars samples or not? I would think that they would have some sort of containment system set up that's well enough for some dust. But who knows? And then we have China launches core module for new space station. What you need to know. So before I get into this, I'm going to go over to the chat. I want to thank everybody for being here, especially Grand Maravan. We've got Legend Gamer, Throttle, and lots of new names in here. With Jen, Lisa McKay, Damn Yankee's Daughter, Della W, Nick Roberts, Wilfred Witzkel, or Witzky, sorry about that. The Recalcitrant, we've got Genie, 63034, Duckhawk, Roaming Wolf, Captain Morgan, 42. That means there's 41 other Captain Morgans out there, including the real one. And then I think more is coming soon, says Nathan C. Still lots of asteroids coming in, says Tiffany Hartman. Exactly. I don't know what the heck is going on up there, but watch. Finally, people will start realizing that, we have more coming at us than they think. That's great. Your mom. I love how you spelled that. Very clever. There has always been non-contamination protocol, even since the moon landings. Astronauts were quarantined then, too. That's a really good point, your mom. That is it's not like a new thing. They come back from space, they go through quarantine. And then Hopkinson, what's going on? Talking about the Thought Police. And then Recalcitrant, Ashley HP, Bear Claws, Arsht, and don't jab me, bro. Bear Claws, what's going on? Billie Jean, Tracy Gilver, and Fadut. Bug Nana and Joe Adams. Thank you all for being here. And just because you added 6 apostrophes there, Briando. Briando. Awesome. It says Tianhe, the core module in China's new next-generation space station, launched to orbit on April 28th, 2 days ago. Kickstarting 18 months of construction in low Earth orbit. Slated for completion in late 2022, the space base is designed as a scientific research outpost for China over the next decade. It says provided that the launch and the build all go to plan, the station will become the 12th object humans have called home in orbit since Russia's Salyut in 1971. It will also become the only operational space habitat outside of the ISS. It says, to the heavens, why is China building a space station? Well, space science and human spaceflight capabilities, mostly with a healthy side of geopolitics. It says China has been barred from participating in missions to the ISS since 2011. After the U.S. Congress passed a law preventing American contact with the Chinese space program, citing national security concerns. In September of that same year, China launched its own space station, Tiangong-1, which operated for a touch over 4 years before its service was ended. China's space program conceded that it lost control of a station in early 2016, and 2 years later, it came crashing down, landing in the Pacific Ocean. A follow-up station, Tiangong-2, was launched in 2016 and deliberately deorbited in 2019. Both provided a test bed for the Chinese space station launching in April. It says when complete, the CSS, the China space station, will be a quarter of the size of the ISS because they don't have to share it with anybody, and contain 3 modules with the ability to support 3 taikonauts. I guess Chinese astronauts that's what they're called, taikonauts. That's cool. For stays lasting up to 6 months. The station is expected to orbit around 230 miles above the Earth and about 20 miles lower than the ISS, with the ability to move up and down in orbit as necessary. Now, by the way, Dex, so the last 2 times that the one came down on accident, and then the second one they said it was purposely brought down. Weren't you with me when they covered that, or were you still just watching?
No, I think we were together when we covered that, but it's interesting that they said they brought it down. I wonder if they just didn't want to have another accident, right? And they just said, "Hey, we're going to bring it down," or it came down and we said, "Hey, we meant to do that."
I don't know. But I do know that I kind of remember something landing on a farm or something, or they. I don't know. Maybe the chat knows. Chat, if you remember when they brought down in 2019, where they purposely deorbited it, what was that? What was that all about? And then it says, hold on here. Let's see here. There was a part here. It says the China Manned Space Agency, along with the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, will also allow international experiments to fly on the CSS. Several experiments will look out at space and investigate phenomena like nebula and gamma ray bursts, straight up making Hulk. Others will examine how spaceflight conditions might affect DNA in cancerous organoids and bacterial growth. I thought that was weird how they added that in there. How it might affect DNA. Maybe they're going to bring something back from Mars and then say, "Oh, whoops, we released something and it changed all of our DNA." And then they're like, "Psych, you actually did that to yourself."
I hope they have good containment systems.
I hope they do too. But again, we're actually going to get into, as far as containment, the fences around the WH there that were there for months and months and months. I almost think that there was a reason for that. So again, if you want to call in 224400-MARF regarding any of these stories, or if you have something incredibly special to let us all know, please give us a call, 224400-MARF. Again, that's 224400-6273. The number is going to be scrolling down here for you. And then if you have not already, there's 1 day left on the EMP Shield sale. Again, this is one of our partners, and these are amazing people here. Most of you have already met Andrew. He's been on the show. But again, this company went from a small company hand making these in Kansas to now a super large government contracted company. Again, they got contracts with agencies like DHS, DOD, and now they're officially working on the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. They have now expanded, obviously, and they've become a bigger family, but they are like... they are a family and or a veteran-owned business as well, and they are so awesome that during Christmas they actually walked around the factory and said thank you to the Marfoogle family and said hey, we appreciate you guys. That's the kind of company this is. You don't see that very often. We were, I believe, the thing is we were talking about them before we ever worked with them as an affiliate. And if you don't know what an affiliate means, basically when you get a huge discount from them, they also give us a commission of each sale, so it helps our channel expand. But again, when we started actually talking about them way before all of this, and I believe we were one, if not the second affiliate they ever had. Now they're all over the place. So if you do want to support us and protect yourself against all three phases of an EMP, I'd highly recommend going to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, that will also protect you against a CME, which, again, we will have one. It's just a matter of when, not if. All 100% American made and on sale right now. You get our $50 off and their sale as well. You can combine them. All right, and then, again, 1 day left on their sale. All right, thank you guys for supporting us. We are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network, so it is very much appreciated. All right, and let's go through. Dex, let me know. I'm going to do this article, and then if we do have somebody on the phone, which it looks like we may have lining up right now, we'll go over to that. Okay, thank you. U.S. reveals suspected energy weapon near White House in 2020. So T-Man actually supposedly may have had some energy put his way. And we're not talking about the normal negative energy that everyone sent him. We're talking about directed. This is pretty huge. I don't know how this is not, bigger and all over the place. I just wonder, though, if there was something going on that, of course, the public didn't know about. It says, this is breaking news story. Federal agents are reportedly looking into a suspected directed energy weapon attack near the House in November of last year while President DT was still in office, as well as another suspected attack on White House staffer the year prior, which we covered that year before. It said the suspected November attack took place near the Ellipse, the large oval lawn on the south side of the White House. It says, according to the sources for CNN, U.S. Secret Service agents were sickened during the incident, according to multiple current and former officials. Details about this hack are still limited, but CNN reported defense officials briefed lawmakers on the Senate and House Armed Services Committee on the matter earlier this month. Recent reports have detailed defense officials' efforts to brief lawmakers about several different incidents of direct energy attacks. It says, including at least one we'll go over to this, in the fall of 2020. This is, so, by the way, we've covered quite a bit of this, but just so you remember, people were deleted off the internet for talking about this before DOD came out in a press conference, a very public press conference, and confirmed not only the existence of energy, but also that our adversaries, our two big ones, the two superpowers, had weaponized space with this technology. So I just want everybody to remember, and let's take a moment of silence for those creators that are no longer with us because they said directed energy was real. Okay. CNN further reported a White House official reported similar symptoms while taking her dog in a Virginia suburb outside of Washington in a 2019 incident. That incident was previously reported by GQ last year. Okay, so many questions here. Why GQ? So she was walking her dog and she got sick. Do you think it might have revolved around her putting her hand in a plastic baggie and picking up something gross? I don't know. Maybe it's not directed energy. It says the mysterious flu-like illness has come to be known as Havana syndrome after nearly 50 U.S. diplomats at the U.S. Embassy in Havana, Cuba, in late 2016. It says those diplomats described hearing noises before the onset of nausea, dizziness, headaches, and even memory loss. But unfortunately, none of them can remember this, so it's like it never happened. Following the 2016 incident, a similar incident took place at the U.S. consulate in Guangzhou, China early in 2017, and then another in Moscow, Russia in late 2017. Last week, Politico reported that the military briefers told the top members of Congress in the Gang of Eight and the Senate Armed Services Committee about a number of suspected sonic attacks. The briefers reportedly identified Russia as the likely source of the various sonic attacks, but also listed China as another possible culprit. Well, duh. But do you see how they do point towards a certain direction at all times first? It's like, hey, look over here, look over here. Whoosh. Basically what they do. When I bet you, though, and I would like everybody to keep their mind supremely open, if you are, totally devoted to knowing kind of the truth and the facts behind things, the U.S. has been behind some crazy stuff because the U.S. isn't an entity. It's not a single thing, right? It's not, the good guys. I think people question if you're against U.S. in any way, that you're against it. I think everybody knows that there are certain people that rise to the top and kind of go on this roller coaster that are on different strings. And when certain strings are being pulled, it pulls us in a bad or good direction. I think that, we have obviously done some horrific stuff. I don't think anybody can argue with that. We also had people that were telling all of us that, there was mass destruction weapons here, we all knew what was really going on. It was protecting the dollar. And that dollar is really the back of all of this. So what we are looking for right now, and I'm sure you are too, is who is threatening the dollar right now. That's who we're going to get into a conflict with. If you are threatening the superiority of them, then that's not a good thing. But what if they replaced all the people that would fight back and say, hey, you're not touching our pot of gold, literally in some cases. What if they replaced all of those key people or made sure that they got a proper amount of gold to the point where they said, okay, well, we'll let this happen. But hey, me, my family, and their great grandkids, no matter how it changes, they're going to be taken care of. Okay, I'm down with this. All right, cool. I'll take a Ferrari, please. Oh, and a side of Bentley. If you got that, then pat yourself on the back. A back, not your back, just the or around some back. Backs in general. Multiple backs. A bag of backs. U.S. nuclear waste tank in Washington State may be leaking. So before we go to that, now I'm going to go over here. Dex, it looks like we have homesteading in the Heartland. I'm kind of excited for this call because you have a video I watched yesterday or the day before of military movement. Let's get homesteading in the Heartland on, and I want to ask you guys a question down for the comments. What do you think about as far as all of this? As far as these directed energy things, do you think that it is a big deal? Who do you think it is? And do you think that we will have, civilians being hurt by it at some point? All right, Dex, let's get homesteading in the Heartland. And then I'm going to pop this up so I can see everybody. Thank you again, Jim Cope, for being the last one out yesterday. All right, homesteading in the Heartland. What is going on?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. So I watched your video yesterday. In fact, with one of my friends, we were actually in the park watching your video, and I was pointing it out to him about how good it was. You did a great job with that too.
Well, thank you. It was kind of impromptu. We actually, my daughter's aunt's studio is right along the train tracks in one of the towns nearby, and came out and it was going by, so I could have actually gone up and touched the train. I was that close, but then I got my phone out and I was on photo, not video, because I was like so rushed, and then it was already going down, so we ended up hopping in the car and chasing the train into the next town to get the video just for fun. So we were doing it for fun. So.
I kind of wondered if you were. I was thinking, gosh, I hope they don't get arrested or something, because they're like, man, this car is not shaking it. We can't shake this person. So let me play this.
Probably was. Yeah, going a little. I was probably going 5, maybe 10 over in certain places. And we even went by one of at the next small town, the police department, and they let me go. They didn't do anything. They didn't pull me over. So whatever. Anyway.
Well, but why were you? I guess what kind of started this off? You saw it, or somebody called you and told you about it, or what do you think about this? Is this
right
normal?
We saw it going by as soon as we walked out of her dance class. So we hopped in the car and followed it. So just felt like it just looked really out of the ordinary. My concern wasn't just like normal military vehicles. There was like missiles attached. It looked like on like dark hunter green missiles attached on the side of some of the vehicles. Something I've never seen before. So I thought that was intriguing. And it said, property of U.S. Army, and was, so I was like, okay, well, let's go take a look. Because the day before, actually, at the beginning of the video, we put up my daughter grabbed the phone real quick as 2 black helicopters flew over the top of us at really low. And then we barely got it. So we added that in the beginning too. So the day before, there's just been a lot of movement. I'd say, the week before, or week and a half ago too, my son had his appendix out, right? So I was on the way to town with him in the car to get the other 2 from school, and he's like, "Mommy, look!" And there was like a caravan of a dozen or more vehicles too heading north on 29. I would assume towards the Grand Forks Air Force Base. So
now, have you ever seen a train like
movement.
this before?
Have I ever seen what?
Have you ever seen train movement like this before?
No, in our area, no. I've seen movement on the I-29 to go to the Grand Forks Air Force Base. But we have trains. We have a train track, not far from our farm, not a few miles from our farm, 3-4 miles from our farm, and I've never ever. No.
So okay, so
even when I lived in town, I never saw stuff like this. But then some people were saying, well, maybe it was the annual exercises that got cut with the blackout exercises or something. Somebody said in the comments that got cut because of CV-19 lockdowns or whatever. I don't know. I've just never seen stuff on the train before.
Let me let you know what my buddy thought of this, and my buddy is ex-military. Said that this looks like they're shipping a lot of logistical equipment. As far as a lot of these trucks, a lot of these vehicles are actually vehicles that are meant to carry vehicles. In fact, a lot of the specialized vehicles here are meant to actually carry tanks to another location. He also noticed that there was a percentage of these that were urban gray, that there was, of course, a mix of the green and then, of course, of the tan. But the urban gray is what I don't want to see, just because, obviously, what's that for, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I know we live in the Red River Valley along the Minnesota North Dakota border. So you have the Red River that just separates the two cities. If you go to the Fargo-Moorhead metro area, that separates the two cities. So it was going west to east from North Dakota into Minnesota and continuing east, and then it stopped, and then it looked like it stopped for a while and then started going again. So I don't know if it's switching tracks or what. So is it going south to go to Minneapolis, or is it continuing to go east? I don't know.
Well, one thing is to be said. It was definitely a long train. I looked at this quite a few times yesterday, and we saw different vehicles in every shot. So, well, great job. Again, keeping your eyes peeled. You're a civilian and a YouTube journalist. You said, like you said, this is my stab at journalism. So I loved it.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we're going to link this so everybody can go look. In fact, there's probably a ton of military in the chat right now that want to actually go and watch the video for themselves, so they can obviously see and go, hey, I know what that is. There's that. Tell us what you think of this video. If you're ex-military or current military, tell us what you think of the kind of shipment this was. Is this, like my friend said, is this something like they're moving a lot of logistical stuff? So not the tanks they're moving. They're actually bringing the stuff to move the tanks somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. And then as far as the DWs you're talking about, you said it, directed energy weapons. I can say that because you said that already. It's not filtered. But our daughter was supposed to go to D.C. for school, and we canceled her trip 2 months in advance, and she stayed back, and the rest of them went on a field trip, and I just had kind of got information, I was like, wasn't comfortable because of that potential, as well as everything that's going on with, other, big countries. I don't know how else, we weren't comfortable with her.
Well, they fenced off the entire area, and they said it was because of this, and a lot of military are saying it's a little bit overboard for what they said it was for. And of course, even for what people thought it was really for, said that was overboard for it. So I think there's some bigger threats that we don't know about, personally.
Well, yeah, and my uncle works at the base in Grand Forks, but he just basically said, don't let her go. And my dad said, don't let her go. And, so I was like, okay. It was all because of protesting, or whatever. It wouldn't be safe, to have a kid from a private school show up, I don't know. So, dealing with all that. So that was the main thing, but I think there's more to it, but I'm not going to talk too much about that. But
well,
you know what I'm saying?
What you can do is you can go in, we can actually send everybody over to your channel, to Homesteading in the Heartland. If you guys haven't love mobbed Homesteading in the Heartland before, they are putting a lot of effort into the videos. And again, they are not to the 1,000 yet. We can get them there in this show. They're at 852 right now. We can get them to 1,000 right now. It is April 29th. We can give them a celebratory reason to go make videos. They're putting out a lot of content. So this is the kind of people that I like to push up and make sure that they are doing well. I really do appreciate you. Again, thank you for sending in the clips. Homesteading in the Heartland.
Well, thank you very much. You have a good night. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Marfia.
Have a blessed night. Marfia. Bye. I don't know why it's not loading. What the heck? So if you're new here, you're like, what is a love mob? Love mob is when we all go over and show love to a channel. We've done it since I was a tiny channel, since I would do it to channels that were bigger than me at one point. But now if I do have then any kind of influence, I like to push other people up with it. So I hope that everybody does that. Think about it. Without costing you a penny, we can make somebody's day, and we can give them an opportunity. You can literally hand somebody an opportunity. Because once again a channel can reach 1,000, the first opportunity is they can go live from their phone. So in fact, if she was at 1,000 subscribers, she could have live streamed that and done a live event, which they banned after the NZ event a couple years ago. You had to have 1,000 subscribers to do that. But second, they can get in the algorithm with a monetized video. Monetization when you're smaller is there's no money involved. For the first year, I made nothing. I was negative. Again, people know. We were negative. Spent more money than I made. But once you get in monetized, then your videos start getting pushed and you get more reach. And that's the main point of it. People say like, oh, you're just doing that to get more subs. First of all, subs are people. And second of all, why anyone is doing this ever is to gain more reach. So of course, you are going to try to get more people watching your stuff. That seems like common sense. Homesteading in the Heartland. Again, we can make their day. Homesteading in the Heartland. Boom. And then I'm going to refresh, and we'll check on her at the end of the show and see if we got them there. That would be really amazing. It would be a real special favor for them, and it would be really cool. And it looks like we blew it out of the water. They already have 1,040. So, yes! Congratulations, Homesteading in the Heartland. You are now capable of monetizing as long as you get those hours in. All right. Which, by the way, actually, it doesn't give them something free. They still have to get 4,000 watch hours, which they probably have. All right. Moving on. This is in my neck of the woods, so I thought that this was pretty freaky. Dex, wouldn't you say this is kind of weird?
Oh, yeah. If this was in my backyard, I'd be really worried.
I shouldn't say weird. It's not weird. It's expected almost with this. This plant in particular is, a lot of people say, is just falling apart. It says, U.S. nuclear waste tank in Washington state may be leaking. An underground nuclear waste storage tank in Washington state that dates to World War II appears to be leaking contaminated liquid into the ground. The U.S. Department of Energy said Thursday it's the second tank believed to be leaking waste left from the production of plutonium for nuclear weapons at the Hanford Nuclear Reservation. The first was discovered in 2013. Many more of the 149 single-walled storage tanks at the site are suspected of leaking. It says tank B109, the latest suspected of leaking, holds 123,000 gallons of radioactive waste. That giant tank was constructed during the Manhattan Project. Of course, one of the most famous pieces of history ever that built the first atomic booms and received waste from Hanford operations from 1946 to 1976, so for 30 years. It says the Hanford site near Richland in the southeastern part of the state produced about 2/3 of the plutonium for the nation's nuclear arsenal. So this was a very important place in the entire country right here. And it says including the boom that was dropped on Nagasaki in 1945, and now is the most contaminated radioactive waste site in the nation. So if you see see some people in that part of town, and no offense, I've drove through there and I was pretty surprised. I'm like, wow, count the eyes on that dude. Three eyes. That's too many. By one eye. You should only have two. Springfield Simpsons reference. Dex, I'm going to have you do the chicken shortage in U.S. being blamed on the Dem. Ick. It says fried sandwich craze. Really? Oh my gosh. Are they really saying this is about the chicken sandwich battle?
It seems like they're coming up with every excuse under the sun. But, we have talked about the potential of having, food shortages, especially with what's been going on with the events over the last year. And it seems that this is now yet coming to fruition with yet another, commodity, if you want to call it that, or agricultural product, the chicken. So they're predicting potentially that we could have a shortage come this summer. So get your chicken now if you want it, particularly around wings. They're saying the wings. They say there's a high demand for wings. I don't know if it's the demand that's the issue or if there's something else going on. But yes, if you want to stock up on chicken and you don't want to be affected, I guess you might want to start thinking about it. I don't know, how long you're going to want to store chicken, but keep in mind that, we've talked about, and we even put out an alert about how the agricultural environment is ripe for change. And this change is something that's been told to us by our administration as something that they need to get done by a certain time. That coincides with another agenda that's out there. So the things that we start to see in this conversation play out over the coming years will be very interesting, whether it is shortages on meat or reasons for us not to eat it and to divert our resources towards, artificial or plant-based or other types of food like that. So kind of interesting that this is coming up, and we probably should keep an eye on it.
Again, talking about the well, I'll just put it on screen here. This big old one right here. Boom. There you go. Go back to that. Thank you. One of the most important things that almost no one talks about, right? And I can hear somebody saying, there's plenty of people talking about it. Yes, in probably less than 1% of the people know about this. And you are one of the smart ones. The people going, I know plenty. This person talks about it all the time. Yes, you are right. That person is smart. And so are you. Not everybody knows about this and knows about the form, and not everybody knows about everything that's going on, because they don't realize it is what is going on right now. It is everything.
And this is the date that our current administration said we have to meet sustainability goals.
Fake meat.
Specifically around, the environment. And specifically, we know, and it's come out and said that to meet those requires a big change in the way the diets are and what we consume, because a big contributor to that is, the animal industry. So if you don't know what we're talking about and we're kind of, dancing around it a little bit here, the best thing to do, I can tell you, is go sign up for Marfoogle alerts on the website. You'll instantly get the last alert we put out, which goes into detail about this quite a bit, especially the people that are behind it and are funding some of the activities that are going on, and like creating, artificial meat, or even creating lab grown meat, and why they're doing it.
This is one of the most important things that you don't care about. Let's just put it that way. This is one of the most important things that you probably don't care about. And there's some of you that say, I do care. Trust me, you will care. Some of the things out there that are more shocking is the fact that, they're actually talking about limiting people, all people, to say a certain amount. So the equivalent of one beef hamburger a month per person, right? It was per month, right? It wasn't per year.
Oh yeah, it's one a month, like a quarter pounder.
And you think that that's a joke. It's not. And that's why some of the businesses are already getting ahead of this. Burger King, all of these places are trying to, artificially make this fake plant-based meat, because they're realizing that they're going to be forced into it. So some of them are getting ahead of that. Burger King has the fake Whopper, whatever it is.
Impossible.
I tried it. I tried the Impossible Burger, and it is impossible you will get me to eat that thing again. It's so fake, gross tasting. It tastes like the Burger King charbroiled. Like, it makes me think that all of their burgers, they just sprinkle that flavoring on that makes it, taste like it's cooked. So gross.
They have charbroiled dust. Is that what you're saying?
Something. Yeah, it tastes charbroiled, but it tastes so fake and just gross. Press 1 if you've had the charbroiled plant burger. 2 if you haven't. 3 if you think it's disgusting and you won't touch it ever again in your life. It's really gross, in my opinion. But again, this is going to matter, and you think, oh, well, I'll give up meat then. Oh, it's more than that. It is so much more. You're going to give up your way of life. Period.
And here's the thing. This is not something that you're just going to want to do, right? Nobody, I don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people that stop eating meat for health reasons, or they decide to become, vegetarian or vegan. Nothing wrong with that. I've done it before for health and whatnot. But the point is it's ingrained in at least in the American culture. It's ingrained in a lot of the cultures to eat meat, and to make a change like that, it doesn't come easy. It's not like you can just, it would take many generations to sort of phase something out like that. And to make a change like this in such a hurry, it has to be something so dire that it really will force you to change your habits. It's just like what we did in this past year. Something came out and it forced us to do things like stay at home and put something on our face and stuff like that, right? So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And again, perfect point there too. You think that they won't force you to do that? They can force you to do anything. Let's see here. Duck Hawk. A lot of people eat meat and veggies to keep their weight down. They were saying that the cattle caused too much methane. Yes. And then Teresa Huckabee, thank you for being here. Jennifer Heath, thank you. And then Gone Girl 777, thank you for your massive contribution there over on YouTube. Thank you. Gone Girl 777 PRS. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. You didn't put a message. Donald Hall says, great show. Daniel Lazarus, thank you so much for your support as well. You can always write a message there, both Donald Hall and Daniel Lazarus. Thank you. Rhonda McKay, thank you so much for starting off the show. Pixie Sticks, happy Friday, Adam and Dex. Love from Colorado. And then KM, thank you for subscribing. If you're still here, I really do appreciate you, and welcome to the Foogle fam. Same with Shield Maiden, thank you so much for subscribing. And then Two Old People on a Couch, thank you for your massive support of the show, and thank you for sticking around this long. I really do try to get to know all of you, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Marfoogle. For a while there, I was like restricted. Make sure to go over there. I was at like, I think 24,000 followers, and then they did that huge purge. They brought me down by 7,000 or 8,000. I was talking to Dex during an hour-long conversation. They had taken 2,000 people. Do you remember that, Dex? I was talking to you, and I said, whoa, it went down to 22, and then I was at under 20 by the time we hung up.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
All those people were just wiped off of the planet or off the social media platform. But kind of the same thing nowadays. All right, and then if you have not checked into our next sponsor, make sure to go do so because you get a giant discount and you can end up protecting yourself against cyber threats. NordVPN is one of the best and easiest to use. They literally have a mode where after you install this, it's an on-off toggle switch. You just switch it over to on, and it will hide your IP address, protect you from cyber threats, and, of course, it will prevent data logging and everything else, which is extremely important. If you want to protect your identity and protect your Wi-Fi use and everything else, you should have this on all your devices, including your phone. Your kid's phone, your kid's tablet. Don't have them exposed and out there. Hide their IP, have them stuck over to the side. You can also get geographically locked content. If you're in a country that websites like Google or Facebook are actually blocked from the entire country, you can actually put yourself somewhere else and then access those. Not only that, you can access Netflix movies that you wouldn't get normally if you have Netflix again after Cuties, which, by the way, I will admit, we got Netflix again because we had to use it for our kids. And I'm not proud of that, but we did get Netflix back, and it was kind of a painful thing there. I think the next controversy, I still can't believe they didn't take that down after all of that. Unbelievable. Then we have China says U.S. increasing military activity directed at it. It says activity towards the U.S. military ships or by U.S. military ships and surveillance planes directed towards China has increased significantly under Pres JB's admin. A spokesman for the Chinese Defense Ministry said, as an example, Wu Qian said that the Navy's Arleigh Burke-class destroyer Mustin had recently conducted close-in observation of the Chinese aircraft carrier Liaoning and its battle group. Or maybe they just got close enough so they could walk over and have lunch with them, or take orders from them. That had seriously interfered with the Chinese side training activities and seriously threatened the safety of navigation and personnel on both sides, Wu said. The ship had been warned to leave and a formal protest filed with the U.S. Activity by U.S. military ships was up 20% and by planes 40% in areas China claims since Mr. B took office in January. Over the same period last year, Wu said. This was a quote by him. The U.S. frequently dispatches ships and planes to operate in seas and airspace near China, promoting regional militarization and threatening regional peace and stability, Wu said at a monthly briefing held virtually. China routinely objects to the U.S. military presence in the South China Sea, which it claims virtually in its entirety, as well as the passage of Navy ships through the Taiwan Strait, which, again, lots of kind of bureaucratic stuff going on here at the same time, but they made islands in the South China Sea so they could then claim that as land and then claim that as their waters. That's how far they went. They created a forward operating base in the middle of the South China Sea. Pretty insane. Says the country recently marked the 20th anniversary of collision between a U.S. surveillance plane and a Chinese Navy fighter near the Chinese island province of Hainan that resulted in the Chinese pilot's death. It says he was called a hero who sacrificed himself for the defense of the motherland. The U.S. says its plane was in international airspace, and the accident was a result of reckless flying by the Chinese side. Wu also blasted moves to beef up monitoring of Chinese aircraft movements by Taiwan, the self-governing island democracy claimed by China as its own territory to be annexed by force if necessary. The drums of war. Really, that's what's going on. Top U.S. military intelligence says Russian military poses an existential threat to the U.S. The top U.S. military intelligence official said during a congressional hearing on Thursday that the Russian military is an existential threat to the United States. The Russian military is an existential threat to the United States. Lieutenant General Scott Barrier, director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, said during a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing about worldwide threats. Barrier said that the country's military is being used to maintain influence over states, along its periphery, compete with U.S. global primacy and compel adversaries who challenge Russia's vital national interests. It says, quote, Moscow continues to invest in its strategic nuclear forces in new capabilities to enhance its strategic deterrent, and that places the U.S. homeland at risk. Barrier's comments came as tensions between Russia and the U.S. remain high. The U.S. unveiled sanctions against Moscow earlier this month over its interference in the 2020 the SolarWinds cyber attack and its ongoing occupation and severe human rights abuses in Crimea. I think people are going to find out that this is so not what they say it is. Just the whole thing is all twisted up. I think these two countries are starting to step on the same ground as the U.S. has been walking, and they're not going to have that. So in some ways, people are saying, we are the most powerful. I'm pretty sure that we want to stay that way. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think that we would ever do anything to do the first strike or do an event that made it look like the first strike was done to us? You guys know what that's called. Do you think we would do that with them or with China or either? James Fox, thank you so much. And then Crazy L, thank you guys for your support. And then, of course, on D-Live, thank you, everybody. I would love to hear your guys' opinions on this. The Truth is Out There says, I missed you this week. Watched replays, but not the same. Happy birthday. Well, thank you. The Truth is Out There. That is awesome. And thank you for the birthday wishes. Tracy says, good show. Thank you. Kishara, tastes like SSP replacement meat. Meatloaf. Ugh. Yes, that's exactly what I said. No FN way will I be forced to eat a fake burger. Oh, a little early on that. You may not be forced to eat it, but you may be forced to not eat the other. Under his wings we trust. PS91. Sylvia Mendoza. Thank you for your support there. Thank you for driving a Ninja Guinean. El Luna 3377. Thank you again. Holiday Kisser. Bear Claws, Edgy Whalen, and the Approaching Storms. Jammer, thank you for gifting out subs and Marfia badges out to awesome Foogle fam. Akarushi, and then For the Glory of Christ, thank you for the lemons. Everybody over there, thank you so much for supporting us. We are independent. We do not have a multi-channel network, so it is very much appreciated. Pax Humana, Crop Duster, and everybody else over there at Jacktronics. Global Amnesia, I love that name. Thank you for following, and welcome to the Foogle fam over on D-Live. What do you think? Let's go over to the chat here. And then the Marines' new unmanned ship-killing missile launcher truck breaks cover. So we had a caller talk about this about 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember this, but they said that they were putting these on the coastlines, and then they were ordering tons of these, right? This would be a coastal defense thing, I would assume. This is a ship-killing truck. Dex, again, this is pretty cool. Naval strike missiles fired from unmanned launcher vehicles are an important component of new concepts of operations the Marines are developing. So this is a picture of what this is. It is this is supposed to take out Navy ships from the ground. So this isn't a Navy to Navy. This isn't air to ship. This isn't a solid, coastal defense system. This is a mobile coastal defense system, I would assume. I don't know how far these can go. We might have that in here, but I believe that this can basically defend against this. Now, why do you think that they would need that? It says we now have our first look at unmanned variants. So this is, again, no soldiers manning this, which also, by the way, means that they have this. Light tactical vehicle armed with naval strike missiles, anti-ship cruise missiles that is under development for the U.S. Marine Corps. That service confirmed that a test of this system, an important component of an ongoing and radical restructurings of its forces, had taken place in November 2020, but no pictures were released at the time of the launch of the vehicle itself. Raytheon released the picture, which is credited to the U.S. Navy, of what is officially known as the Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System, aptly named Nemesis. Who do you think that's made for, huh? Either way, this I believe that this is going to be... It's kind of freaky that this will be unmanned. Will we have a bunch of these on our coastlines without people running them? Will AI run it, or will the remote control operator run it from somewhere else, inside NORCOM or something? Or Central Command or something? What is the Dex, which is the one that's in the bunker? We talk about it all the time, and I'm spacing out on the name of it. It's in the mountains, Colorado.
Oh, I'm sorry, Adam.
The mountain base inside of Colorado.
NORAD?
Yes, NORAD. I don't know why I was spacing on that. We talk about it all the time. This Nemesis system consists of the Unmanned Joint Light Tactical Vehicle, also known as the Remotely Operated Ground Unit Expeditionary Fires, or Rogue Fires. Man, they're so much better at acronyms than almost any other agency, by the way. It says, and a launcher with 2 ready-to-fire naval strike missiles inside their self-contained launched canisters. Which, by the way, the launch canisters actually look like... think about this. They could have similar technology, only, air to or ground to ground tactical cruise missiles in any kind of shipping container. So other countries could be having shipping containers with these inside, built at that size, able to just go off at any time. They have these. It's a real thing. We've talked about it many times. So if you think about it, there's many different ways that things could pop off. It says, our naval strike missile is a vital weapon for denying enemies the use of key maritime terrain. Vice President of Naval Power at Raytheon Missiles and Defense said in the press release that went along with the new picture of Nemesis system. This test further demonstrates our partnership for advancing the Marine Corps' modernization priorities and of enabling sea control and denial operations. I think that they're lining up. They know that the waterways are key. So to protect those waterways, they're going to send in these guys. And again, they're unmanned. They don't even have to have a soldier there. They ship this somewhere, and it's ready to go. I think that if anyone was to try to take us out, first they would be taking the world's waterways, all of the straits, the Suez, the Strait, Panama Canal, Taiwan Strait. They would take those first, and this is the answer to that. Pretty crazy stuff. Truly blessed 2020. Thank you so much. Jacktronics, Carolina Roots. Appreciate that. M. Menching. Hi, Marf. I have you on my big curve TV tonight. Well, thank you. I'm hoping you can see every inch of me. Occam's Razor. What is going on? Real Gains. Thank you for following. And M. Menching. Tell me, how does it look on a big screen? I've never seen it on a big screen. Occam's Razor, thank you so much. And Gem, I missed you the other night. I actually noticed you were gone because I'm just so used to seeing you there. Thank you so much for the lemon. I appreciate that. Leah Walls, Bear Claws, for the glory of Christ. Thank you so much for your support. Dex, going over to you. We obviously have, it looks like Jay Lynn. Let's bring on Jay Lynn. Wants to talk about Ice Age Farmer.
Hello.
Hello. What is going on?
Hey, the reason why I decided to contact you, and by the way, the reason why I decided to contact you was because I seen Ice Age Farmer's video. And normally I wouldn't call in about somebody else's show, but I really thought that it might be a really good idea to bring this attention to people so that we can maybe get the word out and let people know that this is actually becoming a thing, because I don't know that anybody's going to believe it when I say it out loud. They're creating, for GPS tracking reasons, something that will be, I'm trying to think of, how about we use this word, that will be cover in a mist all food from the beginning to the very end of every single food chain with a probiotic spore that has GPS tracking ability. But don't worry, of course, because they can, from the video, wash it, microwave it, cook it, and still GPS track it. But supposedly it should be safe for your digestive.
And obviously, doesn't sound like it.
Well, I don't know, obviously, but I'm just wondering a lot. There's so many things I'm wondering, and it just seems so concerning, because when you really think about the amount of pesticides, herbicides, larvicides, and everything else on everything, it just really brings to mind what actually are we going to be consuming in the end? I don't know. It's just something that I think everybody really should check out and maybe put the word out. I don't know.
Well, how do they know when they make this stuff? How do they know how it's going to sit? As you probably know, I've got intestinal stuff. Like, how can do they watch it go down with the camera and see if it processes right? Like, how do they?
The one thing that I noticed in the video, and I've only watched it once, but the one thing I did notice is they really weren't able to discuss that. They were not able, or they did not seem they wanted to discuss the digestive, because that means you've got to do animal testing, right? So I don't know that that's been done, or if it's being, that might be something that's the reason why they don't want to talk about it. That was my guess anyway. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely very fascinating. So I guess, Ice Age Farmer is, there's more Ice Age Farmer in my inbox than anyone else. I always try to suggest him. He's a very smart guy. I've watched a lot of his more longer videos. Really, really, really great channel. If you guys have not checked out Ice Age Farmer, please do. Jalen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing actually pretty good. I thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I still have, yesterday I have the car part art. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you like it.
Well, the thing is when we moved, it got put away, and I actually just found it, and I'm going to be putting it promptly on display. I'll show you guys exactly. Jalen made a car part alien, and it was really cool. Like, one of the coolest things ever. It looked like Alien versus Predator, but it was... In fact, there's pictures of it on the... and then the little guy.
Okay, wait, let's not go that far, because they're going to have all these high expectations. It's really not that great. I mean, it was like my third day of welding class.
I know, but it was cool. Anyways, I loved it. It was my favorite gift at the time, and never had anybody send me something that was like made. So thank you so much. And Jalen, you have a wonderful night. And you know how to get me. Thank you so much.
No problem. You guys all have a good night too, and thanks.
All right, you too. Bye. Yeah, check out Ice Age Farmer. Lots and lots of great videos on his channel. Just to show you here. Talks about a lot of the things that, like I said, I get more emails with his videos as a reference than anybody else because he actually does a lot of research on all of the different subjects. But it looks like he's covering some of this. The thing is this is like we're like the gateway. We're like the gateway drug to truth. Blowtorch Barbie, thank you. Edgy Willen, I do think I showed it to you, actually. Yeah, no, I've shown you Ice Age Farmer. I just don't know which videos. All right, and then Dex, do you? In fact, have you know Ice Age Farmer, right? Have you watched this stuff?
Oh yeah, and we've had others talk about him too. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely great channel to follow. There's actually we should make a list of all of like the best people there. All right, now do we have somebody here? Do we have somebody else right there?
Yes.
Okay, it looks like Chainbreakers Ministry. All right, let's get Chainbreakers Ministry on the phone. Chainbreakers Ministry.
Chainbreakers Ministry. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, how are you doing? You are live on Marfoogle News.
Man, it's blessed. I'm so glad to be here. Man, I just wanted to give you guys a shout out. I'm so glad Bones and Tubbs podcast got me on your Love Mob the other day, and it was such a blessing. We've already gained 123 subscribers in 2 days.
Oh, well, yeah, no problem. Thank Bones and Tubbs for that. Bones and Tubbs is great, and they came over, and that, like I said, when somebody uses the call not to push themselves up, but somebody else, that's when we go out of our way to try to help them too. So we ended up trying to love mob them as well. But yeah, so let me pull up a link though too. So did you ever hear of us before that?
I had not. And when I saw it, I thought, man, what a great thing. You know, a Christian form of news that you can trust, and especially the fact that you show all of your sources. I think that's fantastic. Absolutely.
And it looks like you're at 180. By the way, just like I talked about earlier, we can actually get Chainbreakers Ministry to 1,000. We've done it in one night before. We could do it again. Again, I was watching some of your videos. I was watching Who You've Been Hanging Out With, and then I watched One of the Most Important Truths Ever and Declaration of Victory. So if somebody does a love mob, I usually go over and I try to watch their stuff. So again, and it looks like I didn't see this. You put thanks to Marfoogle News. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool.
I felt like you guys had done so much for me. I wanted to put you out there on mine so my listeners would learn about a Christian channel they can get on and understand that there's some real news out there that you can trust.
Well, thank you. Again, I appreciate that. Chainbreakers, it looks like you're putting a lot of effort into your channel. So what do you think about, have you listened to today's show, or did you just call in? Or?
Yeah, I was listening to about the chicken shortage, and I kind of chuckled because, I thought about the fact that so many times believers go to services and, you know, how much food we consume all the time. And I saw Fox News had put out a statement about needing a 4-wing chicken. And I thought, wow, what a statement, you know.
Well, watch, we'll have genetically modified 8-wing chickens soon here. They're going to make them so they produce more meat and less cuckoos.
Yeah, it's scary to think how that's going to affect our bodies, being that we are the temple, you know? How's that going to affect us when they do these things, and are we going to know about it, you know?
Well, I don't think it's meant to happen. I think that's why every time it happens, something goes down. The current world right now is going down the drain. They have literally taken anything of morals and just thrown it out the window. So you probably know that.
It's very scary. And, you know, I think the biggest word we're talking about here is accountability, even with the fact of these modifications in our food. You know, where's the accountability here, you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. Now, are you are you an ordained minister, or did you just did you start doing this on YouTube?
I just started doing it on YouTube. I don't have an ordination. I belong to a pretty small church in my hometown, and there's not very many folks that go there. But I felt the call, and I had been sort of lay ministering on my own for a lot of years, and it just happened that I became passionate about those that struggle with addiction, and I've seen. In my main job that I have in civil service, I've seen a lot of, people suffer and actually overdose as well. So, I've seen it in person and how it affects their families and their lives. And it just became a passion. And I realized that in this world, there's a way,
Well, will you do me a favor before we go? Will you pray for one of our mods, Trinity? She's going through some pretty scary health crises right now. Could you just do a quick prayer and then we'll sign off?
Absolutely. What was the name again?
Trinity.
Trinity. I would love to pray for Trinity. May I pray right now?
Yep.
My dearest Heavenly Father, I thank you for the opportunity to pray for Trinity. Lord, you are able and willing. You're, in fact, more anxious to touch our lives than we are for it to be touched. Whatever the need is, you know exactly what it is. And I ask you by your great power and through your great name that you would do a wonderful thing for this family, for their friends, that they would be able to see your glory and your power manifested and be able to see that you are able to do exactly what you promised you would do in your word, because you were wounded for our transgressions and bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace is upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. We trust in you and are grateful and thankful for what you're able to do. And we just fully trust that this situation is going to completely change quickly. Move fast, send angels, help them in any way that you can. And we thank you for it. In your great name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you so much. Chainbreakers Ministry, you have a blessed day. And I hope that everybody goes over and gives you the opportunity that you deserve on YouTube. Well, thank you, and God bless you, and thank you for the prayer.
God bless you, my friend. I'm going to keep up on the show. Thanks for everything.
All right, thank you. Because we're never promised tomorrow. All right, let's Dex, I'm going to pull you back in here. There's a lot of, in fact, I guess, oh, gosh, there was a story that I think just popped out. I'm wondering if I can even... But there's a lot of too hot for TV. Can you explain some of that?
Oh, why, yes, Adam. Definitely lots of things happening. The events that happened at the fall of last year, which culminated into January, those things are still going on. And a lot of people are looking into what's happening with those results, if you want to call it that. There's the Pillow Man also was on a major network, and interesting interview there that's probably worth looking at, and lots of other very good videos and other content that's out there as well. So yeah, the extra news is pretty packed.
And there's lots of video content. There's of course the very anticipated meeting of the Titans. One on the extreme this end and one on this end. This guy, by the way, I just can't stand the hypocrisy of that. I know a lot of people love him, and some of my friends.
Did you watch it?
Him. No, I have not yet.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I knew he accepted it. I didn't know he actually did it. So I'm glad you put that in there.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. The person on the left there, behind the desk, was exactly who I expected him to be, and the other person who he was interviewing did a fairly good job, because it was a very controversial thing. A lot of people were saying, "Don't go, don't do it," on both sides.
Well, they probably turned it into one big joke, I'm sure. I'm very surprised though, because
oh yeah, they did turn it into a joke at the end. Yeah,
the pillow guy, because he has lost millions of dollars, billions probably by now.
Well, and there was a horrible jab at his overcoming addiction, which I did not like. I thought that was kind of crass on the network's part there.
Well, it's like if somebody overcomes that and turns into that, that's a pretty huge accomplishment. Again, and he, you know what he did? Even when he was small, starting his business, he actually wore his cross in every commercial. He put it out there, which at the time, even now, especially now, it's like a mark. People are like, ugh. It's pretty sad that, I mean, if you don't believe in anything, that's fine. But why put down people that do? That's what I don't get. And then say we want equality, then everybody should be equal. All right, well, Dex, thank you so much for a wonderful show tonight. Gone Girl, again, thank you, says, watching at neighbor's house barbecue. Got 8 people watching. Woot, woot. Love you, Adam, Dex, and Mods. Again, well, thank you for having other people exposed to my channel. I really do appreciate that. I can't say how much I appreciate you. Just hoping that you are doing well as well. I'm hoping that everybody, including Trinity, is doing well. I know everybody's going through their own stuff. Thank your mods. Your mods have made it a very peaceful place. If you're watching the replay, you don't get so much of that. But the chat, there's thousands of people in there. And it's a very, very difficult thing to keep everybody on a happy and positive note. People get mad at them the whole time because they have to delete this or do this. It's like they're just trying to keep the peace. We've got to have some set of rules, which again, people forget that has to happen. But at the same time, you can't take it to extremes. All right. Thank you, everybody over there. Dex, could you read me the top 5 over on DLive? And then I know who the top is on YouTube, Gone Girl. And then thank you, Susan Donahue, wherever you are. Who are the top 5 on DLive tonight?
Adam, in the number 1 position, we have The Truth, and they won't show it to me. The Truth is out there, which is who I thought it was. Jammer, number 2.
Jammer.
Fancy Fox, 27 in number 3. And it will load. I'm sorry. There we go. Number 4, Sylvia Mendoza, 1212.
Well,
and number 5, El Luna, 3377.
Well, thank you so much. Usually the top supporters get a stupid song in my stupid shoutro. It's not a shout out, it's not a shoutro. It's a shoutro. And I just realized I said it's not a shoutro, it's a shoutro. It's not a shout out, it's not an outro. It's a shoutro.
Revolution won't be televised. Tell us more lies. Tell us that we're all fine. Revolution won't be televised. Tell us more lies. Tell us that we're all fine. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies. Revolution won't be televised. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies. I was working with the Donna Hall and the Donna Cyrus and them all. Got the KM Pixie Sticks running monkey. Reginald Moore, Mr. P. Hey, with the Tyler Dorso. Going back round, now they go. Now they go. It will hide behind many lies. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies. Revolution won't be televised. Got the J-Star organ and the love to all. Mayflower, our family grow. The rapture watcher, Jesus is coming soon. I have faith in the guy. If I die in somewhere, I'll be home with him. No sickness, no death. Believe in him, amen, amen, amen. James Fox in the air. 2 old people on the couch. Miss Dragon, everybody going out. No man's going right proud. Donna on the hall. hall with the Denalosaurus. She'll motion in the KM hardest. People I know. Now with the rest, in the coming back. I be doing right, do it like this, do it like that, do it like this, do it like this, do it like that. Gun girl, triple seven. 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 What? It will hide behind many lies. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies. With the SM, David on the Carter. Maui racing on realtor. With the Rip Cross, who's the Lewis and the Maui Wood. Going white the blow tar Barbie Dud. With the Anoi B and the Lingo. Sample on folk and the Mono. Hey, observe and serve and bring it back. And now this our purpose. Everybody knows. Oh, no wonder. Televised. It will hide behind many lies. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies. I get the dim dim, I got the bim bim. I got this on me 757 down. Hey CJ Blaze, man, should be having. I bring it back around and everybody sharp having. Oh now, oh Billy Jean having. A deep body and a Loretta Morales. I couldn't believe how living on the dream Oregon Coast got ya. Got me back with the lion on the end, need the Torres. And then the horns door Ores. Bring it down now, I've got the chorus. Tell us more lies, tell us that we're all fine. Revolution won't be televised. Tell us more lies, tell us that we're all fine. Revolution won't be televised. With the Jane Fox crazy on the air. Two old people all sitting on the couch. Gun girl, 777 on pride. Down the hall in the Daniel Lazarus now. AKM, Pixie 6, round the mud key. With Roger No More and the Mr. P. Peterson, that is with the Tyler T. Or maybe it was Tyler D. Darsaw. Shelling Drake for everybody with raw. Sandra Boxer and the getting on the super box. Go right back down like a root pox. Maybe now like, oh no, it's smallpox. Need the magazine on the magazine. Never gonna go take one magazine. Ha! Tell us more lies, tell us that we're all fine. Revolution won't be televised. Tell us more lies, tell us that we're all fine. Revolution won't be televised. I was flipping, stripping, tripping with the mo blow and I go back kicking. Whoa with my friends, all with my lows. Going right back, they kick it with the eyes and the bites mice. With the record on the plan, Superman dozer and the die on the band. Going with the cat firestorm island. Oh now, bring it back down. What's the plan? Then you got the power going on the Jordan Bear. Bringing Arizona, one and nobody care. Johnny on the Anjo and the bagel. Bring it down on the Carolina road style. General Marsh in the O and the Amp Harley. Go to bring it back at old Amy Harley. Oh yeah. Oh. Got it burning down that line, gonna go it low. Gonna bring it right back when they bring it high. Gonna do it right back like a super guy. Hey, bring it down now, they super fly. Table love it, Titans in the table now. Bring them home on the mall, let's carry on. Gonna bring it down, they ain't gonna be there now. Red Blues every day, gonna be now. Quiet finger on the TV in the holiday. Kiss it on the GP, going right to DD. With the Denise and on the L now, bring now. Revolution won't be televised. Tell us more lies, tell us that we're all fine. Revolution won't be televised. Tell us more lies, tell us that we're all fine. Revolution won't be televised. It will hide behind many lies.